Hello, this is Truman, and we continue our lessons in personal evangelism. This is our fourth lesson on looking for a particular key that God uses to begin to give light and understanding to the one who you're sharing Jesus with. You know, sometimes God just brings ripe fruit to us. I was sitting in my office here in the church in Boca, and the secretary came and said, "There's a man off the street. He just wants to go sit in the auditorium and pray. And can he do that?" I said, "Sure he can." And then I got the Bible and I went out in the auditorium, introduced myself. I gave him a Bible and I said, "While you sit here and pray, here's a Bible you can read. And by the way, before you leave, why don't you come by and say hi to me before you go?" He promised he would. And so, I don't know, 30 minutes later, maybe 45 minutes later, he sat quite a while. And then he began to leave and he came to see me. And so as he began to leave, he told me the story. He said, "I was just driving down the street and I saw this church." He says, "Now, I pulled in, but I'm not a Christian. I'm a Jewish man. And yet I felt compelled to come here. For some reason, I just pulled in the driveway as a Jewish man and came into a Christian church and sat in the auditorium and prayed." He said, "My heart was broken. I just had a girlfriend and I just broke up, and that relationship has broken my heart." And so when he told me he was a Jewish man, all of a sudden I thought of the Passover lamb. And so I began in the Old Testament, and I walked him from the Garden of Eden, where God himself would have the first sacrifice as the picture of the Lamb of God to come. And then we went to the Passover lamb, one lamb for a household, and the blood being on the doorpost, and the death angel passing over. Then I went to the Day of Atonement, and we talked about how there was a lamb for the entire nation of Israel, and how the high priest on one day of the year, on the Atonement Day, would go in and put the blood of the lamb on the mercy seat. And then from there I went to Isaiah 53. And as I read Isaiah 53, and actually I let him just read it with me, it became very clear to him that Isaiah 53 spoke of the Messiah. And then I read John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." And I said, on the cross, Jesus became the fulfillment of the Passover lamb and the fulfillment of the Day of Atonement, not just for a household, not just for a nation, but for the whole world. Do you know that that Jewish man, his heart was so prepared, even though he really knew nothing about the Bible, he gave his heart to Jesus. He prayed right there with me, and he confessed that Jesus Christ was his Messiah, who came to earth to die for his sins. Now, Jack became a great, great witness for Jesus Christ. Jack and I would have discipleship lunches for many, many months afterwards. And Jack would say, he was a businessman, he would say, "Truman, I want you to come with me to lunch. I've got a man I've been sharing Jesus with. I want you to share your story, your testimony." And many came to the Lord like that. But later, Jack would become one who felt called of God to become a preacher. Jack's an evangelist, and he has his own ministry. But it all began one day when a Jewish man pulled off the street and came into a Christian church just to sit alone and to pray. So sometimes God just sends us that one who he's been preparing. But be ready to look for a key passage that is used of God to lead someone to Christ. May God bless you in this exciting journey of personal evangelism. Just keep sharing Jesus, and be conscious that one who has a broken heart today in your life may be prepared to hear your witness of Jesus.